What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say when you couldn't even see the light? See the light.
Denver Broncos Mile High View. No commercials, no bullshit.
Attention all hands. This is Captain Foley. Condition rant.
Hey, all of you people that are going to give me the thumbs down, let's remember, you're the very people that wanted Drew Lock. You people. I'm the one who said I didn't want Drew Lock, okay? So let's cut the crap. You're the very people that listen to sports talk radio that cheered all this bullshit on. I'm not here to tell you I told you so. This video is me telling you out there who clamored for Lock didn't fail the Denver Broncos. If the Broncos go and select a quarterback in the first round, the Denver Broncos have failed Drew Lock. And all drafting a quarterback in the first round is going to mean is killing yet another quarterback. Okay, let's get this bullshit out of the way right now. And I just want you to know I clicked not kids for kids on the YouTube channel. This isn't for kids, okay? This isn't the family show, okay? I'm not in this to make money. I'm not in it to get views. I'm just here to tell it like it is because somebody has to fucking do it. Okay, let's get this bullshit first out of the way. There ain't no way the Denver Broncos are gonna get their hands on Justin Fields. It is not going to happen. It's going to be the Jets or it's going to be San Francisco, one of the two. So what is that going to leave the Denver Broncos? In my opinion, it's going to leave the Denver Broncos with, there's no quarterback that right now is that much better than what we're getting with Lock. So what are we doing? Starting off with another quarterback. And what do we have to offer this other quarterback? Fucking Shermer. Oh, but we got receivers. Again, what do we have to offer him? Shermer. Why the fuck did you not go out and actually get an offensive coordinator that's worth his salt? Okay, if you want to run the Kansas City offense, could you upgrade the offensive coach, the offensive coordinator, since you're shit-canning the one guy who got his system ripped from him? Okay, you're going to give him Shermer? Are you fucking kidding me? And speaking of Justin Fields, I'm looking at the offensive play calling, the offensive play design by Ohio State. I'll tell you what, I would gladly say, okay, you can, whoever take Justin Fields, I would love to see the Denver Broncos get the offensive coordinator for Ohio State. His play design is light years ahead of Shermer. Shermer is embarrassing. And they were even talking about that today on fucking sports talk radio. All right, and there's another pile of bullshit I got to clean up from all that goddamn paid for garbage out there. You are not a fucking quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. Cecil Lammey, you can talk all you want about being a Super Bowl contender. That's fine. But actually being one is something completely different. This organization is not a quarterback away. Let's go back and look at the history of where we are and why the Denver Broncos have been an organization that notoriously kills quarterbacks. Let's go all the way back to Peyton friggin' Manning. After Bolin was taken out of the picture and John Elway takes over, we have the complete ignoring of the offensive line starting with Peyton Manning. If you remember the Colts game in 2015, this dilapidation was never addressed. The Colts game, you had Peyton Manning scrambling all over, and he pulled the ligament in his foot. I'm sure that was all his fault now. Let's just blame quarterbacks, okay? Let's not address the offensive line properly. And here's the other thing, too. We're asking Peyton Manning to do play action as an organization. You got to be fucking kidding me. So this whole fucking with the quarterback goes all the way back to Peyton Manning. This is an organizational problem. It's not a quarterback problem. So as a Broncos organization under the direction of John Elway, what is the much delayed response to addressing the offensive line in this quest of trying to help the quarterback out? We wrongly draft Bowles, wrongly bring in washed up Ron Leary, who's in the hospital more than not. We, of course, pay him a big contract to sit in the hospital. Then we got Menelik Watson, Are you fucking kidding me? Then we ask a young quarterback, Simeon, to deal with an offensive line that's like a fucking turnstile, while at the same time having to deal with a Mike McCoy dysfunctional offensive system. Then the big decision by the organization is to start getting rid of players on the offensive line who actually make sense. Does Matt Paradis ring a bell, anyone? If the entire league needed a recipe on how to kill a quarterback, the quarterback position, the Denver Broncos made the boilerplate for it, the blueprint for it. And this dysfunctional can of worms just gets better. You decide to go out and get Case Keenum. That's all fine and dandy, but as an organization, you didn't think to do the simplest thing. First, what system are we going to run? Then next, let's get the best coaches available to run that system. No, let's get a guy and put him into a completely alien system. And in Bill Musgrave, who runs a pocket quarterback system with Carr, that's where he came from. So let's have these two guys get together and try to figure it out, which took multiple games to somehow, both had to reinvent themselves, the quarterback and the offensive coordinator. You did neither one at service because you're a dysfunctional organization. And it just keeps getting better with the Denver Bronco organization. This organizational dysfunction continues, and it even gets better or worse, I guess, depending on how you look at it, with this organizational dysfunction. Because the organization is a dysfunctional mess, you go ahead and fire your yes man head coach, that wall you put in front of yourself, John Elway, so you don't get blamed. And what do? You hire another guy to be the head coach in name only and tell him, well, you're going to be the defensive coordinator. You just handle that head coaching stuff to me and with the offensive coordinator to whomever. Now that you've hired your defensive coordinator acting as head coach, you go get an offensive coordinator that runs a Mike Shanahan or a Kyle Shanahan play action system. So what do? What's your brilliant idea to do? Get rid of the one guy you brought in who could actually run that, which is Case Keenum, and you get another guy who's a complete statue in Flacco, which, of course, I was pounding the table and pounding my head against the wall. What the fuck are you doing? And you're expecting him to function. Again, your offensive line, which we've been addressing for forever, gets him killed. And then you put in a kid, right, that you drafted who seems to be flourishing in that system. So now what do you do in this dysfunctional organization? I'll tell you what you'll do. You'll pull an Elway as usual. You will pull the offensive coordinator that's working with your quarterback, uprooting that apple cart, and like the Kool-Aid drinking sports talk radio fan who's fixated with the latest toy of the week, in this case, the Kansas City offense, who, by the way, got their ass kicked in the Super Bowl, just saying, you go out and get a cheap version of that, somebody who runs that version in Shurmur. So you take a quarterback that was thriving in a play-action Shanahan-type system, you're fixated on the Kansas City Chiefs, and you bring in the cheapest version you can, Mike Shurmur, and you ask him to do something, again, just like you have in the past, do something completely alien because you had a knee-jerk reaction, got a cheap substitute as a coach. And again, like I said, I'm looking at Ohio State when I'm not just looking at Fields, but I'm looking at how the offensive coordinator is running the offense, and it's light years ahead of Shurmur. Shurmur is an embarrassment. And, if you're going to get another quarterback, why did you keep Shurmur? Oh, that's right. You're dysfunctional. And Sports Talk Radio will sit there and tell you all day long how all this dysfunction is on these quarterbacks. I'm sick of it. So with all the dysfunction of ripping out offensive coordinators on and mismatching them with quarterbacks, and you're wondering why through all this mismanagement, all this organizational dysfunction, why your quarterbacks are struggling, learning completely new systems that are alien to them, not even fitting in the system that they were running rather well. And then the offensive line woes. For instance, offensive dysfunction in the Steelers game gets Locke killed. That was definitely not on Locke. That was a total offensive line breakdown snafu like we've seen since the Peyton Manning days. Okay, so you bring in another quarterback, a new one, and they've got to deal with all this. While somebody like John Clayton is blowing smoke up your fucking ass, telling you, oh, it's the best offense. Fuck you. Bullshit. It's not. That's the real world. Now you have the same old, tired old, bought and paid for platforms who just echo the same crap over and over in a bubble. And all the people that echo that, get a new quarterback, forget all the dysfunction that's this organization has. Get a new quarterback so we can fuck him up. Then guess what happens? Some sanity finally happens. A guy named Peyton Manning says, whoa, wait a minute. Instead of killing yet another quarterback, I will mentor what you got. Why don't we start actually showing as an organization, we're not a clown show. Let's try to develop what we got. Am I here to say that Locke is going to be Patrick Mahomes? No, I'm not even saying he needs to be Patrick Mahomes, okay, who just got his ass kicked in the Super Bowl. Let's not forget that, okay? It happens. Bad games happen, okay? But maybe even if we develop this guy, we could do what we should have done with Case Keenum, and that is at least Keenum could have been a bridge quarterback. Had we brought the right system, if we had a functioning organization, we could have built the system, we could have built a play-action type system around Case Keenum, and we could have went into this year's draft or draft a couple seasons ago, and we could have got his replacement with a team surrounded with talent around him. Just like Tampa did, just like Kansas City did, just like the Buffalo Bills did, just like all these other organizations did. But no, we are just continuing to lobby for the same dysfunction. I don't see this organization getting any better until the guy at the top is shown the door by an owner. An owner says, enough of this. It's time to move on. Beth Bolton Wallace actually is a voice of reason. She actually gets it and had the guts to say this organization is not being run the way it should be. She is right. You can hate her all you want, Sports Talk Radio. She is absolutely right. This madness has got to stop. Stop killing quarterbacks. Enough.